Okay, everybody, here we are. It is finally Thursday, and you can't make this up. So, you know what I thought I'd do today? Let's just start by triggering a bunch of people. Let's watch this video about creation. You know, because some people say, nah, this creation stuff, nah, this ain't gonna, no, you can't believe that. Let's just watch this by Ken Hovind. Might as well trigger everybody. Let's roll.
What's in the Bible that you don't believe?
I don't know of anything in there I don't believe. Bible says God made everything in 6 literal days.
Right.
That's the only way it works. God made plants and animals 1 day apart. Well, animals need plants to live. Plants need animals to pollinate them. If they evolve first, if the plants evolved millions of years before the animals, how did they get pollinated? Which evolved first, the male or the female? I ask atheists that all the time. You got to have this trillions of times over with your ladybug and your grasshopper and your camel and everything. If the male evolved 10 years before the female, or if he evolved 50 miles away, you got a problem. Why would he evolve all the equipment to make sperm and deliver it if there's no female? Why would the female evolve all the equipment to receive the sperm and grow a baby? I mean, it's complicated. There's a lot of biology involved in both of those, okay? Do you think it happened by chance? They have to say yes because they don't want God telling them what to do.
So ain't that the truth? I mean, you look at it, you go, okay, if evolution is for real, then everything everything's going to evolve. Everything does. Even you start looking at the plants. I thought it was great, just straight into the point. But hey, if you got a problem, you have to say it's by chance, or you have a God problem, right? And that is, folks, what the problem is. People are really interested in knowing God, so you got to create something different. I also find this interesting. I believe that is why, even with AI technology and what we are finding out, well, not us, but what scientists out there are finding out, these tech people, as they search the heavens, are going, seems like there's something smarter than us that's out there that's created. Don't want to say created. Somehow everything's working. It's like everywhere that men are looking to disprove God, they find out, wait a minute, God's there. God's handprint is there. You see it in archaeology. It's like the more that is uncovered as people go to dig to prove God doesn't exist, they go, we have a God problem. This just confirms the Bible's true. Out there in the skies confirms the Bible's true. The smaller we go, I got a DNA. Everything just magically came together by chance, like a jigsaw puzzle. You just throw the pieces up and it all comes together. Yes, like everywhere you have the science community looking to disprove God, they've got another problem. Even the people, the atheists set out to prove this wrong, come back, go, think we have a problem. Anyways, I just thought, why not trigger folks? Hey, talk about some things happening. This happened over in Italy. It was a couple of weeks ago. Remember the Israeli family that was kicked out of a restaurant in Italy? Hey, check out what Italy's done about this. Look at this. Check it out. After an Israeli family was kicked out of a Naples restaurant simply for being Israeli, city officials didn't let it slide. They met with the family, treated them to a cafe, covered their next 2 days of excursions, and the Italy-Israel Association is hosting them for dinner, reaffirming that Italy must be a safe place for the Jews. I like that because, quite frankly, folks, we are not seeing much of that happen as we look at all of the different dynamics about what is going on regarding anti-Semitism. Nevertheless, no, you can't make this up. That's kind of a nice relief, isn't it? You can't make this up. Look at this. Trump says Vatican very interested in hosting Ukraine-Russia peace talks. Okay, I know we've already talked a little bit about this. Just thinking about it a little bit further through it as we go down this place. I want you to think of this. We're going to look at another peace article here in just a second. When they say peace and safety, sudden destruction comes upon them, and they shall not escape. Is the Pope Bob from Chicago? Some people probably get triggered by that. But that's his name, Bob from Chicago. So Pope Bob, Pope Leo, call him what you want. Bob from Chicago, who's now the Pope, is he going to be the arbitrator of peace? I don't know, but it is interesting. More and more talks about peace and safety, peace and safety. Check this out. This is out of the Jerusalem Post. Granted, folks, note this is an opinion piece, so we need to remember that. But look at this, Jerusalem Post, pull it up, there we go. Peace with the entire Mideast is on the table now. This is the opinion here. U.S. President Donald Trump's efforts in the Middle East may be creating the conditions Israel needs to achieve peace. This is by Daniel M. Rosen. In recent months, the Middle East has felt like a page-turning novel. Yeah, no kidding. With what lies ahead on the next page unknown. Alliances, threats, and declarations have been changing with dizzying speed from Gaza and Tehran to Riyadh and Doha. The Doha's in Qatar, by the way. Remember, Doha is the place, Qatar, the funder of college campuses, saying from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. In fact, I think over $100 million donated to college campuses, not to mention people yell and scream about people supporting Israel like AIPAC and lobbying in the U.S. government, whereas you have like Qatar and other Islamic nations that have funded way, way, way more than anything involved like AIPAC. Way more. Never hear about that one. Nevertheless, underneath the noise, this Jerusalem Post article says, and sometimes hidden from the general public, a larger, more connected strategy is emerging, a potential realignment of the Middle East, one in which Israel's security may be quietly benefiting from what seems on the surface like an American contradiction. You look at this and think, what did we hear? It is peace and safety, peace and safety. Thinking, and remember, that is an opinion article, but I believe it's a nail on the head with the sense that more and more people are talking about peace. Listen, this is what Trump is on a mission to accomplish. When you look at Abraham Accords, although no doubt Jared Kushner and Witkoff are driven by money to see things come about, all of this is pretty much driven by money. If you go back to October 7, pre-October 7, 2023, we had talked about that before. As the Abraham Accords were moving closer and closer together, there was an incredible amount of money that was going to be made by any of the nations that would enter into these negotiations and enter into the agreement, the normalization agreements and the Abraham Accords, including and not limited to the U.S., but Saudi Arabia, Qatar now. You start looking at this, Qatar? Is that really going to happen? Syria? What? So you see all these different things. And by the way, as of right now, Marco Rubio says Syria may only have a few days left of being Syria. So interesting days indeed as we see all of these different dynamics take place. But people are saying peace and safety. And by the way, note this, when it comes to these things, we know from Luke chapter 12, you've probably heard it here many times now, Jesus is in the same passage, who he promises a reward for those who are watching for his return. And then he says, if it doesn't happen in the second watch or not until the third, you're blessed if you keep on watching. When everybody else said, oh, it's not going to happen. No, we're done. You keep on watching. Read it beginning in verse 35, Luke chapter 12. At the end of that section, at the end of that story, the parable that Jesus gives, he then says, for the Son of Man comes at a time when you least expect it, an hour when you least expect it. As people are talking peace and safety, as prosperity, as there's a boom in prosperity, think of Daniel chapter 8. You can think things are going to be prosperous and peaceful, at least seem that way. We may be on the verge of a political revival, which I think has already started, actually. Not on the verge. I believe we are actually in it. And when you start looking at things, you go, okay, peace and prosperity. People say peace and safety. Jesus said an hour when you least expect it. I look at this and I say, okay, what's going to happen? More and more people are going to say, hey, stop looking to the Bible for Bible prophecy. Come on, everything's going good. You crazy prophecy people, you guys are just a bunch of nuts. And then they might even quote, remember Jesus said, as it was in the days of Noah, as it was in the days of Lot, so it will be in the days of the coming of Son of Man. And then what they're thinking is there will be lawlessness, which is true. There will be all these crazy things going on, perversions of all sorts, and the judgment came. But what they miss is what Jesus said about the days of Noah and Lot. Jesus could have said, yeah, it's going to be lawless. Yeah, there's going to be perversions everywhere, which we see. But he chose to pick this when he described the days of Noah and Lot. People buying and selling, building, planting, giving in marriage. In other words, things are going to be going great. So Jesus himself at a time when you least expect it. Also, Jesus, buying, selling, planting, everything's, I believe, and I believe for a long time, the implication from that way, way, way back, I believe, implies that up into the time of the coming tribulation period, things are going to be looking great. Daniel chapter 8, things are going to be booming in that sense. And then also, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, when they say peace and safety, sudden destruction comes upon them, they shall not escape. What's that? That's talking about after the rapture. 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, after the rapture, what happens? Then they will not escape. Those who are left behind, saying peace and safety. So you see all of these dynamics coming right now. And no, I'm still not going to name who the Antichrist is. I don't do that. I don't name who the false prophet is. I don't name or set dates or any of things. But we do have an understanding of the days that we live in. We know the book of Daniel, for example, tells us in Daniel chapter 12, the wicked will see it and they won't understand. In other words, as the events are coming about. But the wise will see it and the wise will understand. The closer we get to that day, the more clarity we're going to have on what is going on with world events, things that are happening, where you go and you look at stuff and you go, peace and safety? The Pope's going to be this arbitrator of peace and safety? Wow. You mean over in the area of Israel, the Mideast, are starting to talk about peace and safety? That's why we say, no, you can't make this stuff up. And by the way, also don't forget this, when it comes to the covenant of Daniel chapter 9, where there's a covenant of 7 years, the Bible tells us that he, the one who comes out of the revived Roman Empire, he's of the people who destroyed the city, that's 70 AD. He's going to he will confirm a covenant. In other words, make a covenant strong, make it work, make it strong. It appears there's something already on the table. Antichrist comes along, and then he makes it work. So it could be right now what we were watching. Maybe the Abraham Accords are that covenant. I don't know. People said the Oslo Accords, so many peace agreements floating around the Mideast, but it looks like the attempt is to make it work. Somebody's going to come along and say, I've got the solution. I can make this whole thing work. Folks, we live in interesting days indeed. Okay, check this out. Let's move on to this. New Orleans. Police secretly monitored New Orleans with facial recognition cameras. What is up about that? For 2 years, New Orleans. Police secretly relied on facial recognition technology to scan city streets in search of suspects, a surveillance method without a known precedent in any major American city that may violate municipal guardrails around use of technology. An investigation by the Washington Post has found police increasingly use facial recognition software to identify unknown culprits from still images usually taken by surveillance cameras at or near the scene of a crime. I mean, you can't make this up. Do people actually think this wasn't going on? I mean, how long? Come on, you guys know this, right? Because you watch these things, you pay attention. How long have we been saying they've been doing facial recognition? Listen, people get so worked up about these things. Say, wait a minute, don't you know you're already scanned? You're already monitored. You pretty much go anywhere. You are on camera. You can't get away from it. You don't even know it. They don't tell us we're scanned. I find this interesting. And listen, there's a lot of folks I know. I have friends that are pushing against what's it called? The Real ID, right? Pushing against it, okay? Well, I didn't get it, just so you know. I don't have it. But nevertheless, folks pushing against the Real ID saying, okay, I'm not going to get it. But if we work through this, just think of this. So what happens is when you go and you don't want to let's say you go to an airport, I don't want you to scan my face. Fine, all right? Go to the airport, don't get your face scanned. By the way, your face is already scanned, just so you know. And then they say, okay, take out your driver's license. So you take it out. So if you're going to fly, you got to have what, Real ID or a passport? I got a passport. I've had it for, 20, 25 years. But nevertheless, updated, of course. Nevertheless, so you take out your ID and you put it, if you're going to fly, and you don't want your face scanned, you put it under their thing and it validates who you are by your ID that you have, but you didn't get your face scanned. Well, your face, to get your picture on your ID, was scanned. I mean, it's like they've got us everywhere. And to see this, well, yeah, China's been doing this for how long to catch criminals? We know this is going on. Of course it's going on. And guess what? The more stuff like this that comes out and the more problems we have because of lawlessness and people hacking into checking accounts and things like that, the more and more people are going to rise up and say, you know what, especially if you have a crime committed against you, where's the facial recognition? People get their phones out, right? People take out their phones. When there's something going on, they see a car wreck or something like that, they get their phones. People are already scanning everybody. Then they post it on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or whatever, X, wherever it is, it's posted all over the place. Plus they got it. Plus it's on their phone, which means all of that data is saved by someone anyway. So you look at this and go, yeah, when I see something like this coming out of New Orleans, I'm going, well, of course our faces are being scanned, right? And criminals being caught based on it? Well, we know you committed a crime, but we can't get you because we scanned your face. Listen, people are going to be shouting, throw them in jail, arrest them, put them away for good, and right on down the list. It's true. Okay, check this out. This is Zach Sage, short video on some of the Gaza truth. I want you to pay attention to this. I did a much longer one myself that I had put together, not me going and interviewing people, but I took things from, it was a Travel to Gaza ministry or whatever it's called, and I did one of those about a year ago off their own pages, their own social media on why you should travel to Gaza, and it looked marvelous. You're thinking, and it was probably about a year ago, as I mentioned, so after October 7, people, Candace Owens saying, it's this prison, all these different people saying, they're trying to kill everybody, look, it's horrible, humanitarian aid is unbelievable, they are getting it to them. And I said, well, look what they're saying in Gaza. This is what they're actually promoting. You can find it on social media. Zach Sage does a great job with it, so pay attention to it and watch this short interview with these people. It's a real short video. Check it out.
A lot of people have been saying Gaza was an open-air prison before 10/7. This is a Gaza tourist video.
Ooh.
Does it look like an open-air prison?
No, it really don't.
Thriving.
It's actually beautiful.
The open-air prison argument was just propaganda.
Yeah.
You know what this image is?
That's Sinwar, the head of Hamas. That's his wife. He took his family down into the tunnel, left all the people of Gaza up there to be destroyed.
She has a Hermes bag that's over $30,000. Yeah.
The money that people send to Palestine is really paying for Hamas.
Wow.
Yeah, so listen, just for the record, think of Qatar funding Hamas, Iran funding Hamas. Remember October 7, 2023, showed this video, I think a week or two ago. You have these leaders of Hamas in Qatar at Doha, bowing and thanking Allah for all of the horrific things that they did to the people of Israel. Then you have that video right there with Sinwar and his wife, $32,000 purse. Woo, man. They were billionaires. You start looking, they were billionaires. Where did they get that money from? And then you look, listen, check it out yourself. You go Instagram, you can go different places where tourism in Gaza, they still promote their stuff. Check it out yourself. It's simple. I've done it. You look, you go, hey, they're saying come to Gaza. It's really, really nice. Lies are everywhere. So much are the lies everywhere. Check this out. You want to see what's really going on with all of the stuff? Gaza is being used as a tool to advance radical people with their Islamic ideals throughout the world, obviously in Europe, obviously with politicians in Europe, obviously right here in the U.S., people on the right and people on the left, and college campuses. In fact, they even admit it, and they are so thankful. Hey, the more we play up the propaganda and the lies about what's really going on in Gaza, the more we paint Israel bad and we say how often it's killed, children are dying, Israel's killing them all, there's a famine when there is not. Guess what? This works to our advantage. So let's keep up the lies, just like the lies of where Palestine came from. Watch this video. It's about 2 minutes long. After this, guess what you're going to get? You are going to get after this the tip of the week. So check this out, and then we get the tip of the week.
هي معركة خالدة، معركة تاريخية، معركة غير مسبوقة. لا أقول أنها غير مسبوقة في التاريخ الحديث، بل ربما غير مسبوقة. هي قريبة من معارك الإسلام الأولى. البيت الذي هدم يعاد بناؤه، والشهيد أرحام نساء تلد أضعاف من الاستشهاد. هل تعلم أن عدد المواليد في غزة يساوي عدد الشهداء الذين سقطوا في هذه المعركة. أن ما لا يقل عن 50,000 مولود ولدوا أثناء المعركة في غزة. اليوم الناس في فرنسا، في أوروبا، في أمريكا، شو اللي بخليهم يسلموا؟ عشان ما نقزمش الموضوع ونقول غزة انهدم فيها 20 بيت ولا 100 ولا 1000. تداعيات المعركة أكبر بكثير من مساحة غزة، أكبر بكثير من مساحة الإقليم. تداعياتها أكبر من الزمان والمكان، تتجاوز. مين كان بيحلم أنه الشباب الطلبة في أمريكا في جامعات التي تخرج السياسيين يخرجون ضد قيادتهم، ضد الاحتلال الصهيوني، ويقولون أن فلسطين يجب أن تتحرر من البحر للنهر وليس في 67 كما يقول معظم زعماء العرب.
هم ضد المشروع الصهيوني بالكامل يعني.
بالكامل. هذا حلم أن يحدث. اليوم المسلمين اللي أعدادهم تتضاعف أضعاف كثيرة بسبب ما يجري في غزة. اليوم غزة هي ملخص ما يجري، هو تفسير جديد للقرآن الكريم. يعني الواحد كان يقرأ آيات ربما لا يعرف معناها، لكن كثير من هذه الآيات وهو يراقب ما الذي يجري في غزة أصبح يفهم معناها من خلال تفاصيل كثيرة نراها كل يوم في غزة. لذلك الذي حدث في غزة مش قصة 100 بيت انهدم و1000 شهيد استشهد، قصة أكبر من ذلك بكثير. غزة اليوم أعطت درس ليس للاحتلال، أعطت درس الأمة، درس العالم. تداعياته وثماره ونتائجه كبيرة جدا. أما البيت يعاد بناؤه والشهيد إن شاء الله عشرات الأضعاف ننتج غيرهم، وهذا أثمان.
Wow. I mean, check that out. So if you were just listening to the audio, listen, it was all done with, you could read it. It was all in closed caption. So go back and check it out. But he admitted we have 50,000 babies born in Gaza during this time of war. There's dozens of babies that are going to be born for every martyr. More and more babies will be raised up to be murderers also. He says this works basically this works in our favor. We're able to spread this propaganda everywhere. And he talks about even the propaganda to go back to the 1967 borders. Why is that? You hear from the press all the time, from the UN. If Israel just goes back to the pre-1967 borders, then everything will be in peace. No, Israel had those borders. That's what they had. And all the Muslim nations around them tried to destroy them with no help, by the way, from the U.S. So, the U.S. for Israel. So you look at that and go, wait, no, it's a lie. You go back to those borders. No, they want to just eliminate all the Jews just because they are Jews. But go back, check it out again if you weren't able to read it, and you can read it with the closed captions to see what's really going on there. A lot was said in there. But listen, right now, guess what we got? We got the tip of the week in just a minute. That's right. Hey, listen, what was I going to tell you? Oh, make sure you join me for Sunday morning, Sunday night. It's going to be great this week, of course. We're going to be in the Seattle area next week. Fantastic. The Phoenix conference is, that one is, registration is completely full there. I think they might have online coming. By the way, don't forget we're going to be in Santa Barbara. We're also going to be in, we'll be in Santa Barbara. We're also going to be in Texas coming up. Check out everything at the events page, hopefortimes.com. Check out our Israel tours that are coming up. I can't wait to go there and bless the people of Israel. And remember when we were just there, several weeks ago, it was like God said, we just felt it. God blessed the trip so much. And all of us came. We had 52 people, I think, going. It was great. And it was like as if God said, you came here when everybody said don't go to Israel. You came here to bless the people and to bless my land. I'm going to bless your socks off. So let me tell you, it was off the charts. Join us in Israel if you can. We have a couple trips coming up in October, 2 completely different types of trips. You can check out the itinerary for absolutely free to check it out and see what we're going to do and make your decision. Think of it that it's kind of like going on a cruise where you got your expenses paid, you got all of your excursions are paid, that kind of thing. Your meals, all of your breakfasts and dinners are paid. Half of your lunches are all covered. So it's kind of like that. And you look, you go, man, this is actually a really good deal going there. Okay, you ready? Let's get the tip of the week. Here it is. Tip of the week. This is from the fire department themselves. Never do anything you wouldn't want to explain to the paramedics. Ain't that the truth? I am thinking, folks, that's a pretty good tip of the week. Never do anything you would not want to explain to the paramedics. That's great. Thank you for joining me today. God bless you guys. See you Sunday morning, Sunday evening. Going to be terrific. May you be blessed this here in America this Memorial Weekend as we remember those who have given their lives so that we'd have freedom in America. God bless you guys.